Make sure we it. Okay. Now, I just want to start this live off by saying that this is a trigger warning. I'm going to be discussing probably the most controversial topics in our culture, all together, all in one video, all back to back, all right here. So, trigger warning. Bottom line, I'm just getting it off the rip. Now, America's a fascist nation. I'm saying it. And for those of you, listen, because there's a bunch of levels we're going to get to. For those of you that fully understand politics, this is like a surface level politics conversation. Okay. And for those of you that don't understand politics at all, this is a surface level politics conversation. So you can follow along. So we're not getting too deep with politics, but we're scratching the surface and we're going to get deep with life and culture. So now, let's first dig into why fascism is a bad word. For those that don't know, a popular fascist would be Adolf Hitler. Okay, that's why it's a bad word to say America's like him. Yeah, bad word, ain't it? See, here's the thing about it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We live in a society where our culture right now is a lot of character assassination. Like, you probably won't find too many politicians or people in high places like that to actually have something happen to them in that fashion in this society. No, they're just gonna character assassinate you. I seen them do it to Donald Trump. I'm a black guy. I always thought it was kind of weird for Donald John Trump to become the face of racism. And I'm like, yo, how did this happen? Well, out of all the faces, him, Donald John Trump, the face of racism. I never was buying that. Okay. But we live in a culture where, because of the media, the things you see, certain ideologies are forced on you. And if you stand on a different side, you'll get ostracized. So no, it's not to the extreme of, well, not always. It's not to the extreme of losing your life, but you can lose your career all off your opinion in this country. We don't have a First Amendment right. You are stuck believing one thing, or you could just believe something else and have to war with people. Like for years, what would, if you, all you had to do was vote for Trump, or you didn't have to vote for Trump. All you had to do was be a Republican, right? And if you were black, you were a sellout and a coon and all these things. And if you're white, you're a racist, the scum of the earth, a dummy. How would you vote for this xenophobe, homophobe, every phobe in the world? You see what I'm saying? All because of who you voted for. You were forced. Like I said, trigger warning, January 6th. Or should I say November 4th? Okay. You can only believe one thing about that issue, or else you'll be ostracized. Now, like I said, a lot of times I'm speaking for the black culture. Black people are conditioned Democrat, just bottom line. But I have yet to, I will not, I don't think I will find one, honestly. I have yet to find, excuse me, I have yet to find a black person to tell me they believe that Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama. I'm gonna repeat it. I have yet to find a black person, any person, but I'm just going with the black people because he had a lot of support from the black community. So I have yet to find a black person to tell me that they think that Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama. To me, the whole thing personally doesn't make sense. How you can have the most votes as a sitting president and the most votes as a candidate. Where did all these votes come from? You know what I'm saying? And then we see the evidence. Dead voters in this place, dual county voters here, missing votes here. All these things, but then it comes up with this to where you got people physically committing acts based on them feeling like it was something wrong, but you can't say it and you can't believe it. They were still talking about it during this midterm thing. Oh, I'm in Michigan. One of the ladies, she lost, but one of the ladies running for governor, they said, oh, she still won't come clean about how she feels about January 6th. It was rigged. That's how she feels. That's honestly how everybody should feel, except listen, that's how I want. Have the heart to say you don't care. If you on the side of you hate Trump, no matter what, you don't care about Trump, all that, have the heart to say, yeah, they rigged it. I don't care. Don't insult people's intelligence. But you can get away with it because you're on the side of we're forced to believe one thing. Or else you're ostracized, or else you're criticized, or else you can only believe one thing in our country. Or whatever the popular thing is, that's all you can believe. And if you don't believe that, you're criticized. And like I said, fascism is only a bad word because people relate it to the extreme of losing your life. But what about losing your career? We're gonna get to that. This Kyrie situation. This Kyrie situation. We live in a fascist nation. You can only believe one thing. You had to think that Kyrie was being hateful, or else you're anti-Semitic. Anybody that took Kyrie's side was posted as anti-Semitic. But look at Twitter, though. Twitter has now become the home of nigger with a hard ER. Twitter has now become the home of nigger with a hard ER, but yet, right after people voice their concerns about the outbreak use of the word nigger, now one of the niggers is offending someone. Somebody tell me what ADL really stands for, because it can't be anti-defamation, because you sifted through all of these niggas with a hard ER to find something that offended you. You don't care about defamation. You care about yourself. Don't defame you. You ain't anti-defamation. You're anti anything you think is offensive to you. And people are criticized and have to apologize. You can only stand one way. If you didn't agree, if you, I just heard it. It said, oh, feeling like they just said it on the news. It said, if you say that a certain community of people run Hollywood, that's anti-Semitic, but yet we could pull up the names of the people who are the execs and what they represent, and it's all one thing. But if someone says that they're Semitic of some sort, no, they're not. We just live in a fascist nation where you have to stand on one side of something or else you'll be criticized. That's just all it is. You can only believe one thing. You have to go with the popular, whatever's popular, or else, like I said, you may not lose your life, but you can lose your career. Let's go. Like I said, We trigger warning. Popular topics. Sexuality. Sexuality. No matter how liberal you are, no matter where you stand on this issue, you can't voice your opinion unless you feel a certain way. You have to be on one side of the sexuality conversation, or else you'll be ostracized. You have to be on one side of the sexuality conversation, or else you're ostracized. And like I said, you may not technically lose your life of your beliefs, but you can lose your life for your beliefs. Check this out. This is America for you. Let's do a whole timeline. You're 18 years old. You graduate college. I mean, no, you don't graduate college. You graduate high school. You're 18 years old. You graduate high school. You go to college, law school. You do that for 6 years. Now you about 24. You get a job at a law firm. Boom. You work there 16 years. Now you're 40. You make partner. Okay. You make partner at 40. You're having a good life. You went to law school, you got a job, you made partner, you're a lawyer, you're doing good for yourself. You live partner for about 8, 9 years. You're 49 years old, about to be 50 years old. You know, you've had a glorious career as a lawyer. You made partner, you having the best year of your life. If you call Caitlin Bruce, you could lose your practice. And that's in a moment. Someone's personal feelings of themselves can cost you your job that you worked 25 years for. Kyrie Irving is one of the most talented basketball players to ever live. He didn't get that way overnight. It took a lot of practice, a lot of dribbling, a lot of shots to get to be the scorer that he is. And all in one tweet, someone was offended, and now he has to do all of these things, and because of someone's opinion. Dictators have opinions. You know, we feel free. We're not. We don't even have a First Amendment. How can we be free with the first one? Like the very first one, we don't have. We don't have it. We're forced in this nation. We're not free. In a way. In a way, we're free. You can't say no. And people say, like, and then we got a bunch of people justifying it. You sit up and see people justify it, no matter what it is. When you're forced, it's someone else that's going to justify it. I see people justifying the Kyrie thing, justifying when people get fired over whatever, still not wanting to hear the truth about the election. You can only believe one way in this country, and if you believe any other way than the popular opinion, you'll be criticized. No matter what the conversation is. If you don't think Jordan's the GOAT, criticize. If you don't think Brady's the GOAT, criticize. No matter what, it could be something small. You're criticized. It's popular opinion or face criticism. And we know that we've stolen um, government practices from fascist leaders. You tell me the difference between a concentration camp and a private prison. What's the difference? The people in them. That's the only difference. The people that are in them. Because a concentration camp is a private prison. but so is a private prison. We're fascists. It's a dictatorship. And then, listen, we want to be fascist. And if you really break down the definitions of just the two parties, you'll understand why one was the slave master and the other one wasn't. And you will say, oh, the party switched in the 60s. Man, I want to slap you in the 60s. You a liar. You don't understand your history if you think the party switched. They never actually switched anything. January 6th happened for the same reason that the Civil War happened. No, no, no. I mean that literally. You understand me? January 6th happened for the exact same reason that the Civil War happened. Please do your research on that. Please do your research on that. The Democratic Party was trying to control the House, and the Republicans thought they were doing it shady. You thought it was over slavery? It was not. It was over the control over the House. One state. And we're still moving the same way. We're fascists. You can only believe one thing in this country. If you don't believe anything else, you're criticized. Period. We have a whole websites based on believing one thing. TikTok is like dedicated to like women. You can bash men on there. You can do whatever you want. But if men do, they'll get banned. Just seen something today. What was it? It was Courtney Michelle. She posted something about how she felt about Wakanda Forever, and they banned her on a site like TikTok. Banned. And then okay, like this is how you know our world is warped. Not only can you say nigger all over Twitter, you could literally post porn on Twitter. You can literally post porn on Twitter. But you can't post a link to a movie. Only if you like I could post that link to that movie. You know what I'm saying? But we live in a world where people are so miserable with their own lives that they have to cling on to a celebrity, quote unquote, to pay attention to them and follow along everything they do. Is this the tough media of New York that they talk about? Is this what the tough media was supposed to be? Because if you ask me, that whole situation happened because that guy asked that question. Why are you on his Twitter worrying about all of that stuff? Who cares? And they're not gonna find a more talented tandem to come through New York than those two right there. And they, because of the media, the tough media, sabotaging them dudes. And when they leave New York, you're not gonna replace them for the rest of y'all's lives. Who did it? Who is the most popular member of the media in New York? From New York. It would have to be Stephen A. Smith, right? Who attacked Kyrie the most? Oh, but you just a Knicks fan, so you don't care. Your whole life, when Kyrie leaves Brooklyn, you ain't gonna never see them win nothing in your lifespan because of how you treated the most talented players to ever come through your state. You will never celebrate a championship in that state, ever. Because of the people who don't play a lick running a mouth. Oh, if they can't handle it, y'all not gonna win nothing. But this is the world we live in. The media. This is how they dictate you because everybody watches TV. Well, not everybody, but you know what I'm trying to say when I say that. Everybody watches TV. But a lot of people don't know how much it manipulates you. a lot of stuff, if people don't talk about it, it's not news. If people don't talk about a lot of stuff, it's not news to people. This is the world we live in. If people don't talk about a lot of stuff, it's not news to people. Well, it's news to me. You know what I'm saying? It's news to me. And they don't highlight a lot of stuff. Like, okay, example. Let's go back to Trump. When Donald Trump was the president, every day, all the time, you were seeing on the news, hearing about people getting shot by police. You think that's still not happening? They're not putting it on the news. COVID. You know it's still a pandemic, right? Of course you don't, because they ain't talking about it on the news. You ain't heard a death toll from COVID since the damn debates. Joe Biden ain't mentioned COVID since the presidential debates. I was just watching the what's the name the other day. Whoopi Goldberg is out with COVID, but they talking about they're broadcasting a booster shot. Maybe y'all need to fix the COVID before you guys get all of these boosters. All these boosters should have prevented the COVID, right? But hey, that's another issue. But if you didn't want to vax, what? You had to be, you literally were forced. You didn't even have a job. You got mandated in New York. If that's not fascism, what is? For something that we now see that wasn't even working. We now know that the government will mandate you to do some shit in this country. We not fascists? How aren't we? How isn't that fascism? Because we can't even say nobody lost their life. They did behind that. So somebody got to tell me how we're not forced in this nation, because we are. We're absolutely forced. You got to believe one thing or you're criticized and ostracized. No matter what it is, you can't believe something other than that. It's whatever that they tell you is, and if you think it's something other than that, criticized. You know what I'm saying? And then it takes people with the heart to say, no, I don't care what y'all talking about. That's wrong. And then that person has to take a bunch of heat before a bunch of people be like, you know what? No, he's right. That is wrong. Then someone will hijack the issue with you. But we live in a forced nation. One way or criticism. That's it. You have to believe one thing or the other. And the other is criticism. It's not two issues that everybody's okay with. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by that is this: there's not an issue where everybody's okay with disagreeing with each other. Let me say that a different way. I can't think of one issue where everybody's okay disagreeing. Like, yo, I disagree with you, but let's just agree to disagree. I don't think of it. There's no real issues that people agree to disagree. No, they just disagree and keep disagreeing and keep finding reasons why they're offended with their disagreement. But the ADL need to change their name, because y'all don't care about anti-defamation. Y'all care about yourselves. Facts. You only care about yourself. Bottom line. And we live in the fastest nation. Bottom line, man. That's what I got for y'all today. Quick little topic. It ain't quick. We almost did a half hour, but it's fastest. It's what we is.